the KAI program, I believe Lagos State will continue to excel, not only in all achievement of financial matters, but even in making mankind to be clean. Because
the neighborhood watch, those are the people we use, and we started that environmental on Saturday. By Sunday morning, we finished clearing all the refuse in our area. If anybody goes out now, you will see that the local government is very, very clean. There is no refuse on the road at all. You know, so that is part of it.
One of the steps taken by the state government is ensuring adequate publicity for this Kick Against Indiscipline program.
Yeah.
Within your own local government area, what are you doing to further enlighten the people, to further create awareness about this program, sir?
In fact, what we have, according to, as I've told you, we have something which is called as a jingle. We are starting that in about 3 days to this time, because the next environmental, which is going to be on the 29th of this month, we want to make sure that the awareness is within the local government.
Eastern State, which is the largest estate in Lagos State, people trooped out and they were clearing, cutting and doing a lot of things, and you can see the change. At the end of by the close of business, by 10 o'clock, everywhere put up a new look.
Now, sir, what is some of the efforts, what are some of the packages that you have in your office towards assisting the state government in the successful implementation of this program, sir? What are those programs that you have, sir?
We don't have movable vehicles like tippers, but we know they are very important because we want to evacuate whatever people either bring out from the gutters or from felling trees and whatever. And you know, this instruction from the state government within 48 hours, every debris moved, created by people should be evacuated. So we want to make sure that we have standby vehicles that will cut away all those things and take them to dumping ground.
I use this forum to appeal to all our women. They have been trying for such thing, and I want them to keep more effort on it, because cleaning of the Lagos State is not only for the Lagos State, for our health and for our children's health. It's very, very important. If the Lagos State is clean, your environment is clean, there will be less of sickness. So I use this opportunity to tell all my members and all the women, not only my members, to support our governor, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to clear the refuse and to support the KAI. Don't just dump refuse anywhere. Don't just dump waste nylon or pure water bags. Just don't dump it somewhere else. And it's not only for refuse, including water, because these are the part of life. Water is very, very important in everybody's house. Don't cut the pipe.
The program is going to help us tremendously because, for example, our sanitation law, people have been taking it for granted. But with the sanitation officers around and with the KAI brigade, the street captains that are coming on now, you will see that our environment will be cleaner because there is a lot of bylaws and fines, and we are going to implement that to the letter. I will assure you in the next 1 year, when you come back to Koka-Aguda, it will be one of the cleanest, because we are going to employ the most disciplined people around that will help us to enforce this law. And I'm sure with the good people of Koka-Aguda, they will do the best to make sure that all these bylaws and fines did not come to the community. But we will try our best to make sure that we enforce the law in a way that it will not affect our relationship with the masses. But with the KAI brigade, street captain, being around, I think the people will know the right thing to do.
In conclusion, Engineer Shola Kukwala calls on all and sundry to keep the environment clean and beautiful at all times. This is a task that must be done.
We know it's a very big challenge, and we are up to the task. We are managing the resources that we have. You know, sometimes we complement our efforts by hiring some of these payloaders and bulldozers to service the populace. So, you know, it's costing us a lot of money to actually cut away waste in the state. And that's why I'm using this opportunity to inform the various new local government chairmen that they have to, you know, gear up with the responsibility of cleaning their local governments. So by this, if the local governments pay us adequately, definitely Loma is ready to work. Loma have all the expertise. We have qualified and experienced workers here.
Although Lagos as a state may be the smallest in size due to its small land mass, as depicted in the nation's map, however, its peculiar position as the seat of the former federal capital, the city of Lagos, with its natural labor and strong economic activity, has led to the siting of over 70% of the nation's industry there. It beckons investors from all over the world, as well as within the nation. It serves as a magnetic pull for crowds of gapers from other states and a natural target for people in search of the golden fleece. Naturally, the fast pace of life in the city and the speed, including the high percentage of success rate, have in every way possible served as a beacon of light that attracts all and sundry. It's been the most populous city with the biggest economy in Nigeria, controlling over 60% of the commercial and manufacturing activities, coupled with its hold on industrial activities, has brought with it an ever-increasing attendance, domestic pollution, ecological problems, rapid urban and suburban population growth, and extreme stretch on the infrastructural facilities. Every area, especially the developed places in Lagos metropolis, reflect this state. Every nook and corner is polluted with all sorts of noise, air, domestic and commercial waste, gaseous and liquid effluent from industries that affect the entire environment. These problems have been attributed to the rapid increase in population of the state, having the highest influx of immigrants and vehicles. Will a purposeful and committed administration fold its arms and let such situation continue? What has the administration of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu done so far to provide better environment, a much more health-conducive atmosphere? How has the state measured up to provide conducive environment? Of course, the state government has beefed up efforts to provide a healthy living environment for the people of the state. Already, the population growth in Lagos, where facilities are already stretched beyond end limits due to the ongoing continuous population and industrial growth, which has not only led to a spillover into neighboring states, but also resulted into virtual pollution of the environment that led to the birth of the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, LASEPA. The Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, LASEPA, commenced operations in 1996 with the promulgation of the LASEPA Edict No. 9 of 1996. It was created from the then Pollution Control Unit of the Department of Environment, Sewage and Water of the Ministry of Environment and Physical Planning, MEP, for higher efficiency and enhanced performance of its enlarged inherited responsibilities. The agency, which began operations July 1996, is vested with the duty to effectively monitor and control all forms of environmental degradations, including industrial, commercial, and domestic waste, gaseous and liquid effluent disposal, ecological and sanitation problems through the institution of adequate regulatory and enforcement instruments as stipulated in Section 7 of LASEPA Edict of 1996.
We have a pollution control monitoring department. We have a hazardous materials management department. We have a sanitation and conservation department. We have an engineering department. We have the research and development department. Through these departments, we have various activities that have been scheduled as a modus operandi for each of the departments. For instance, the Department of Pollution Control run the activities of monitoring the level of effluent pollution that comes out from the industries, the quality of pollutants that also come out from the industries, and on a monthly basis they receive a report of the analysis of all the effluents from all these industries. On a half-yearly basis, they receive reports of environmental audit of the industrial activities in the state. On an annual basis, they expect each industry to write a baseline environmental audit report for the activities in the year. And for new projects, the department also receives what you call an EIA, Environmental Impact Assessment Report, for new projects, and this report is usually prepared by the proponents of new projects using a certified consultant.
To effectively and efficiently carry out its duties, LASEPA has to perform some functions. Its focus areas entails water, noise, land and air pollution, monitoring, as well as laboratory analysis, to mention a few. However, these problems of environmental degradation continue to be worrisome and troublesome. The fact is, the densely populated nature of Lagos metropolis, with the commercial and economic activities daily, make waste control and environmental protection a major concern of the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency.
The first major problem that we have are the problems of pollution coming from industries. Now, this problem is a problem that we cannot run away from. Lagos State is the industrial nerve center of Nigeria. Lagos State is the economic nerve center of Nigeria. Because of this, there are additional problems that are created because of these two factors. People keep migrating to Lagos State at a rate of about 6,000 people per day. Today, we have a population problem in Lagos State that the government is completely aware of. But it becomes a major problem when you begin to see the waste generation problem from the perspective of the rate of population growth. See, the more people that come into Lagos State, the more waste, that is domestic waste, that is generated in the state. So you can imagine a state where we have a small land capacity, where economic center is here, where industrial center is here, and a stream of people that keep coming in every day, who are obviously going to, through their means of living, generate waste. So you can imagine the volume of waste that is generated on a daily basis. It obviously negates all the efforts of government in whatever form, because there is no way you can project the number of people who are going to be generating the waste on a daily basis. So this in itself is a major environmental problem for us in the state. Apart from that, there are other indices of environmental problems that we have here in Lagos State. We have the erosion of land caused by the continuous surge of the ocean sea level. Bar Beach problem is a good example. Everybody is aware of the Bar Beach problem only because Bar Beach is visible. There are other coastal areas of the state that are also presently suffering from the erosion problem engendered by the waves of the sea. In addition to that, there are problems around the coastal regions in the riverine area of the state due to activities of people who on a daily basis are mining sand from the riverbeds, from the lagoon beds. And all these are the problems that we have to supervise and monitor in the state.
The Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration is a responsive government that is committed and fully conscious of the enormous task on hand. It has continuously voted substantial financial resources towards a healthy environment in Lagos State. For instance, having identified waste generation at domestic and industrial levels, the government initiated and involved private sector participation, and this is to enable the government focus on delivering a safe habitation for its citizenry amidst the great industrial level of Lagos State. Still not enough. The recent launch of Kick Against Indiscipline, KAI, is another pointer to the creative effect of the state government within the limited resources to educate the public to keep Lagos clean at all times. KAI is a concept targeted more at conscious enlightenment of the populace to be clean every time. The Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, LASEPA, is directly working with KAI in making sure that these members of our society that violate the environmental laws and abuse an environment at will are dealt with accordingly.
KAI is an all-encompassing thing. It is kick against indiscipline. Indiscipline in all its ramifications. We are an enforcement agency. We enforce the regulations of the environment in the state. And therefore, anybody who through an act of indiscipline violates the laws of the environment in the state will go after the person. That makes us an absolute part of KAI, because environmental problems are a major problems that we see through indiscipline in Lagos State here.
Over the years, governments have embarked upon various public awareness programs at the state and local levels towards curbing and eventually eradicating completely the menace of environmental decay and destruction hazardous waste materials, toxic chemicals, and disposal of effluent, which are due largely to the industrialization and commercial activities. In spite of the awareness campaign, Lagos continues to witness daily violation of the environmental through emission of effluent. It continues to witness all forms of pollution, confusion, and lawlessness.
That is supposed to be a natural water body that is supposed to be the source of livelihood of the community in this area, who are mainly fishermen. But unfortunately, due to the activity of this company, the industrial effluent have turned this natural aquifer into a polluted water body where no life can survive. No animal nor plants can be found even floating on the water body. You can also see from this other side the oil pollution that has been stagnant here for years, that is also percolating into the aquifer. So there's so much that the company needs to do in order to be able to get this water to its formal original state.
What exactly are the causes of this industrial effluent?
This company is a textile company. It's involved in production of wax, and the coloration here is due to the wax and other dye stuff that is used in the process. While they do their washing, they discharge this untreated effluent. But the government regulation says that any facility that is operating in the state must have in place a primary effluent treatment plant, which is supposed to have treated the effluent before it is discharged into the environment. But unfortunately, you could see from the color of the water we are seeing behind us that this company does not have any sort of treatment whatsoever before they are discharging. And so this same project, this bioremediation project that the state government is now going to go into, is costing a lot of money. And from the preliminary study done, there's still a lot to be done.
Several firms that violate the environment are dealt with by the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency. They pollute the environment, thinking there is no law guiding the environment. Some of these firms are court-sanctioned and sealed up. They also make them pay fines for not following the rules and regulations of LASEPA.
First of all, we do a regular monitoring of all the industrial sectors in the state. We monitor the people in the pharmaceutical sector. We monitor people in the gas and oil sector. We monitor people in the paint industry. We monitor people in the iron and steel industry. We monitor people in the confectionery industry. In the food and beverages industry, we monitor them. So through these monitoring activities, we're able to sift out those people who are in compliance with the regulations of the environment and those who are not. Those who are not in compliance, we ensure that we give them sanctions to alert them of the penalties that they are likely to face if they do not come in compliance. And we have had cause in certain instances to close down certain industries because they have failed to comply with the regulations of the environment. We also, on a regular basis, like I said before, receive analyses and reports from various industries on the kind of effluent that comes out from them. And I must say that Lagos State today is the only state in the Federation that has an effluent standard limitation. There's no other state in the Federation that has it. We have worked so hard and we are conscious of the fact that we need to set this standard, because if we do not set the standard, industries will continue to violate and pollute our environment, which is not going to be in the best interest of the people of the state. So we have a set standard which is very stringent. A lot of the industries are having a hard time trying to comply with the effluent standard that we have set. But we have also given them a little respite by saying to them that even at best, if they can comply with the minimum standard, which is the national standard, then perhaps we'll be ready to work along with them without necessarily giving them any sanctions. Because on our record, only about 100 out of about 1,000 industries meet a level of compliance that is satisfactory to the agency. The remaining 900, we're working with them, enforcing the law to ensure that many of them put in place what we call the effluent treatment plant, particularly the textile industries. because a number of them do not appreciate the fact that the azo dye that they use in their textile industry, when it ends up in our aquatic environment, it becomes extremely toxic to the aquatic environment. It causes massive fish kill. And that is why, for example, Ibeshe River in Ikorodu has become a dead river in the last several years due to the activities of just one textile industry, Nikemtex. And we've been on the neck of Nikemtex this long, and we're hoping that, having given Nikemtex all the opportunities to meet with the requirement that we have asked of them, by January next year, if we find that they have not complied with all the regulations, despite the time that we have given them, the moratorium we've given them, the opportunity we've given them, we will close Nikemtex down. That they can take as a promise from us, because we have given them sufficient time to do what they have to do. Now, in furtherance to the activities that we have monitoring the different industries in the state, we also want to use this opportunity to tell all the industries that we, as an agency of government, we are the police of the environment, but we monitor the environment with a human face. We want to see industries as partners in progress, so that it is not a cordial and stick approach that we use. We use dialogue. We want them to see us as people they can dialogue with, because there's so much they can benefit through dialogue with us. They will be able to be properly advised on the few things that they need to do, particularly these days when we know that there is a great deal of push by the outside world to introduce clean technologies to a lot of the industries. There are a lot of opportunities out there for industries to benefit from donor agencies and donor countries, so that they will be able to help them to do some retrofitting and throw away the old machinery that they have, which causes great pollution, and acquire new technologies that will allow them to have clean production, clean pollution level, and what have you. So we'll use this medium to appeal to industries to dialogue with us and get closer to us and make us friends, so that they can benefit some of these opportunities that are bound out there.
Noise pollution, a further disturbing and worrying problem in the state. Everywhere you go in Lagos is full of noises. Illegal setting up of record studios along roadsides, streets, bus stops, garages and marketplaces. Also churches, mosques, restaurants, hotels, party houses and nightclubs reflect this state. The question is, what can the agency do to curb this menace? Firstly, the efforts of the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency are huge and could be easily measured by non-outbreak of diseases in the metropolis. Let's take a look at pure water, for example. Virtually everywhere is saturated with pure water provision. It has really become the business that everyone goes into. The rate at which it is produced and consumed is alarming. The streets of Lagos are littered with pure water sachets in the gutters, on the roads, bus stops, everywhere you go, you find them.
Well, the issue of pure water is a national problem. It is a national problem because in every city of Nigeria today, that industry has proliferated. But it has become a major problem for us in Lagos State here because of the number of people who are in that industry. Like I said, industries will always gravitate to where you have population. The rate of population growth in Lagos has engendered the growth of pure water industry, because the number of people who traverse the roads of Lagos on a daily basis, called moving population, is about 3 million people. The moving population in Lagos State on a daily basis is about 3 million people. Therefore, for people who move about under this sun that is burning, they need to replenish the water that they lose through sweat. So pure water sellers are doing business, and it is the biggest and the fastest growing business in the world, not just in Nigeria. Water business is the biggest and the fastest growing business everywhere in the world. Therefore, you must see it as a growing industry. But the consequences of that growing industry on the environment is also a major problem. You see, the nylon sachet that they use to sell the pure water is made of material that is not biodegradable. In other words, it does not degrade according to the rules of decay. It remains in the environment for upwards of 100 years. Therefore, you can imagine the amount of nylon bags that people are throwing out there on a daily basis. The effect of such nylon bags out there, we already are seeing. They're blocking our drains. Anytime there is a whirlwind, what you see rising up with the whirlwind is just nylon and nylon and nylon. In the past, it used to be only paper. Today, paper has been replaced with nylon. So all that you have rising up with any whirlwind is nylon, nylon bags, nylon paper, sachets of pure water. Now, must we kill the industry because of this effect? If we do not have a choice, we will have to kill the industry. That is
oil, one of the so many natural resources Nigeria is blessed with. It's found in some states of the nation, and Lagos State is not left out. This is one thing that serves as a source of revenue for the country and energy to power our numerous industries. Nonetheless, its attendant spillage and environmental degradation is also a major source of worry to the state government. Oil spillage alters our ecosystem, destroying our wells, useful food crops, plants and animals. The aquatic life is near extinction, and water is contaminated. In a few minutes, we will take a look at a case study of a community, Baruwa community, in the Lagos metropolis. The inhabitants in this community have been greatly affected by oil spillage. Some wells in the community, located in the northeast of the state, have in the recent past been contaminated with petrol. At this juncture, it is convenient to state that LASEPA has been able to achieve so much within the time it was created. Although there are some constraints, for example, the need to equip the empty laboratory space provided for hazardous materials management services, lack of utility monitoring vehicles, as well as the huge maintenance cost. Also, inadequate funding to finance the agency's recurrent, special and capital projects. So far, the Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration has also achieved a lot through the Lagos State Environmental Pollution Agency, LASEPA. Some of its numerous achievements include attracting the assistance of the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, in commissioning